and their kids are American citizens. Rip them away from their babies and send them the goddamn back home. Now, that's a debatable point as to whether that's fascism. My guess is that if he starts doing it, and you start seeing people ripped out of their homes, that people are going to go, oh, that don't look good.
Even after the election of Donald Trump, Cenk Uygur is still spitting the nonsense that Donald Trump is a fascist. And Cenk Uygur gets confronted about this ridiculous claim by Konstantin Kisin on Trigonometry about exactly why Donald Trump is a fascist. And this is a good interview because Konstantin Kisin does a good job of exposing Cenk Uygur's delusion as to precisely why he thinks Donald Trump is a fascist. And the ultimate answer at the end is just absurd. But Cenk Uygur is still caught up in the woke lies. So let's jump into this clip of Konstantin Kisin dismantling.
So you don't call Trump Hitler and you don't call the Republicans Nazis. But when you say the word fascist, as you say, the meaning of that word has been eroded. That's where most people's minds is going to go, right?
So what do you guys tell me, what should I call his obvious dictatorial tendencies? And his obvious over-the-top racism.
You know what? Actually, this is a really great question, because what I'd love for you to do is, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to catch you out or anything like that. I genuinely am interested. I have heard a lot of rhetoric from people about Donald Trump and the concerns that they have about the next 4 years. And, you know, people use words like fascist, dictatorial, etc. What do you fear over the next 4 years he is going to do that makes you say in the present moment that he's dictatorial, fascist? What is he going to do you think?
Yeah. So again, I don't know that he's going to do it because there's countervailing forces.
What do you fear?
And I think the countervailing forces are super interesting, and we should talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see which way the right wing goes in this country under Trump. But the worst case scenario is he gets frazzled and feels challenged, and he falls back on what he always does, which is just protect his ego. And so he starts pilfering, and that's very much in his nature. Grab, take, because now there's no accountability. What are you going to do, impeach him? What are you going to do, arrest him? No accountability, there's no brakes in the car. So we're all at his mercy.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important for clarity. What do you mean by pilfering? He's going to be pilfering and pilfering.
Okay, so easy examples, but there's a million of these. He puts Jared Kushner in charge of the Middle East last time around, and Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner at some point goes to Saudi Arabia, talks to Mohammed bin Salman, and right afterwards, Mohammed bin Salman arrests a whole bunch of people. Okay, I don't want to get too much into what happened in that meeting and what the results were, but whatever it was, Mohammed bin Salman was super pleased because right after the election, he gives Jared Kushner $2 billion to manage, but he gets 2 and 20 on that. So if you know private equity and how that works, what that means is he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So if Hunter Biden got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis after Joe Biden left office, I was like, Hunter Biden's not a Ukrainian gas expert. That's nuts. Okay, and that was $5 million.
So your fear number one is that his family will benefit financially from his president, and him will benefit financially.
And his donors, most of all his donors.
What else?
Okay, so that's, but to be fair to Trump, like part of the reason the establishment hates him is because he's systemically and personally corrupt, whereas they're just largely systemically corrupt.
Look, I'm accepting all this for the sake of argument without challenging, because I just want you to get to like the real fascism that he's going to do that you worry
So the reason I'm saying that is because since most of the politicians are systemically corrupt anyway, that's not the fascism I'm referring to.
Yeah. So where's the fascism?
So he says, I'm going to deport all the undocumented immigrants. So some people might say, yeah, good. Rip them out of their homes, 13, 15 million people, whatever it is. Oh, they're running a diner. They're beloved in their neighborhood. They married an American citizen. Whatever they did, I don't care. And their kids are American citizens. Rip them away from their babies and send them the goddamn back home. Now, that's a debatable point as to whether that's fascism. My guess is that if he starts doing it, and you start seeing people ripped out of their homes, that people are going to go, oh, that don't look good.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're going to find out. He might not. We're going to find out.
But if he was to, let's say, you know, I think the more likely scenario, I don't know if you agree with Cenk, but I think it's possible that this is the more likely scenario, is he deports all the people who've committed a crime in this country who are illegal immigrants, right? People not only came here illegally, but have committed a crime, and people who don't have American family and don't have dependents here. Let's say he was to deport all those people. Would that be fascism in your view?
I don't even know if he deported all the undocumented immigrants, it would be fascism. I'm not even
Right.
stipulating
Okay,
to
so
that.
let's get to the fascism, though, because this is
Okay.
what I want to get
Yeah.
to, right?
And by the way, people who committed crimes should obviously be deported.
Right.
No
Yeah,
one
we agree.
disagrees
Good,
with
great.
that.
So-
Okay.
You notice how it's 4 minutes into the video and Konstantin Kisin is still trying to figure out where the fascism is exactly. I mean, you see Cenk Uygur, he's talking about, okay, Jared Kushner, financial gains. Now, I don't know anything about that. I haven't seen anything about that. But either way, that's the same thing that Joe Biden is doing with Hunter Biden, that he just pardoned him for everything he's done in the last 10 years. Is Joe Biden a fascist? I mean, by that same argument, does that make Joe Biden a fascist? And then later on, he's talking about, deporting, illegal immigrants. How on earth is that fascist? How is it fascist to deport people who do not have the legal right to be here? And at the end of that, like Cenk Uygur is still trying to walk this line like, oh, well, no, he shouldn't do that. I understand we should, get rid of the criminals, but we don't want to. Okay, if you are here illegally, you are therefore by definition committing a crime. Like it's in the statutes. Tom Homan had to explain this in Congress to AOC one time, and she was absolutely bewildered. Yes, if you are here illegally, it is a crime. You are actively committing the crime. Now, Tom Homan has already said, like, yeah, don't stop us. Like, this is gonna happen. I don't think that's fascist. I don't think that's fascist at all. I believe it was Theodore Roosevelt. He had to get rid of millions of people out of America, and he just shipped them down. Was that fascist? No, I don't think that was. So, again, he's not getting to the point of fascism as Konstantin Kisin is still trying to push him on. But you see Cenk Uygur like dodging around, but it's like, dude, just get to the point. I mean, let me know whether or not you agree with that or not. But come on, bro, just get to the point. Leave a like. Let's get back in.
So, okay. So then the thing that I'm concerned about is both him and the potential attorney general saying, if you're on a campus and you're protesting Trump, you're protesting Israel, you're protesting the oil companies, you're protesting something we don't like, arrest and deport you. Wait, what happened to cancel culture? I mean, arresting someone for protesting or voicing their speech is the most both cancel culture you could do. I mean, you're taking the guy's freedom away, right?
Yeah, agreed. But
deporting people that are American citizens.
Well,
what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you can't do that. But did he do any of that in his first term?
So he didn't do that. Okay. But so, and that's why I say, guys, when he's running, he threatens to do total complete shutdown of Muslims. Yeah. He threatens to arrest and deport people, etc. But he didn't necessarily do it. So for example, they said, lock her up. And then he got into office and he said, no, I'm not locking Hillary Clinton up. So I have an open mind. But when he threatens those type of things, I go, I am deeply, deeply concerned. Now, here's other things.
Okay.
So they had a 3-hour meeting after he lost the election where Michael Flynn and I believe Sidney Powell, don't quote me on that, I don't want to get sued, okay, but definitely Michael Flynn said, let's use martial law. Let's roll out the tanks, okay? And we won this election and we're going to correct the fraud and let's go grab the actual ballot machines, okay? And Trump was like, okay, now I'm listening. Now we're having a conversation. And that's why it lasted 3 hours.
So you
At the end, hold on.
No, hold on. You're talking about something that already happened. I'm asking you about the future. Let's just stick with that.
No, but that's totally relevant.
No, well, I'm sure, which is why I'm asking you the question to follow up. So do you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he's not going to relinquish power? Is that what you're saying?
So since he didn't relinquish power last time, yes.
Well, ultimately he did, but you fear...
come on, guys.
Fine, let's accept that for the sake of argument again. So you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, when he can no longer run for election again, you fear that he will not hand over the presidency.
A guy who said, let's terminate the Constitution, considered martial law, and had a fake elector plot to steal an election, might he try to stay in power? Of course, he tried to do it once.
Well, that's good. So so you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he will not vacate the White House.
That is one of my concerns, absolutely, and that alone is a deal breaker.
Well, it'd be a deal breaker for anyone, left and right, no question.
Except it wasn't, because he already tried to do it, and the right was like, no big deal, no big deal.
I don't think that's
It was a giant deal.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite true, but anyway.
So Cenk Uygur is afraid that Donald Trump will not give up power like he did the last time. Like, he keeps bringing up that he was going to roll out the tanks and all this stuff, and it's like, how much of that was just BS? How much of that is, again, the woke mainstream garbage that was spewed at the time that was constantly debunked again and again? He peacefully transferred power. And then what did he get for it? He got people coming after him left and right through lawfare, his money, his family. I mean, they went after him for everything. So they keep accusing Donald Trump, Cenk Uygur, and all these other woke pundits on the left of going after people when that's exactly what the left did. Like, he keeps describing the people who are already doing the thing to Donald Trump. And he doesn't get that he's wrong. He still is projecting all this nonsense. Never mind all of the errors and errors, in quotations, and issues with the 2020 election that are clearly and blatantly obvious that people just want to pretend. Like, what happened to all the voters that didn't vote for Kamala Harris, that voted for Biden? Like, where are the millions and millions of people who just all of a sudden just vanished? If you go back and look at the voting records, there's an explosion of people for the Democrats in 2020, and then they all just vanished. Like, what happened? What happened to those 80 million people? Because a huge chunk of them just simply went away. So regardless of where you're at, there was huge errors in that election, and still Cenk Uygur is under the woke lie that Donald Trump tried to pull this fascist stunt or whatever he wants to call it and take over, because he didn't. He did not do that, right? He didn't do any of that. But meanwhile, we've seen the left these last several years do all of this horrible stuff to Donald Trump. Everything under the sun. Anything they can to stop him. He's been shot at twice. It's like, what else do you need? But you still want to call that guy the fascist. That guy the fascist. Never mind what's happening in the government. So if you're going to call Donald Trump a fascist, is it not fair to say Joe Biden and all of these other corrupt people who are doing all this stuff actively right now in the government, are they fascist? I've never seen Cenk Uygur pose that question. But folks, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought about what Konstantin Kisin on trigonometry had to say to woke Cenk Uygur and his delusion that Donald Trump is still a fascist. Never mind all the former Democrats who are joining up with him. Never mind the fact that, he won Latinos, some of these people who've come from communist countries and horrible places that are like the dictatorial thing that he claims Donald Trump of being. So let me know in the comments what you think of all that. Take care, like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one, folks.